Good morning, YouTube. It is Monday, February 26th, 2024, 10:14 a.m. We're late today. Okay, we're egregiously late for this slightly early episode. It's going to be 90 degrees today in Dallas, February. Bad news for the summer, right? I mean, it's always hot in the summer, but this one might just be it. Like, this one might be it. This one might be the last summer. This one might be the last summer. We might not make it out of this one, guys. We got a good amount of stuff to talk about. A busy slate of games yesterday and over the weekend. And we have a rebrand. That's right. We officially have a rebrand. The Los Angeles Clippers heading into a new arena next season with a new look, new jerseys, which look different than what they currently wear. How different are these than what their current jerseys are? I mean, they look clean. They look nice. What are their current jerseys? Like, how different are these? Los Angeles Clippers current jerseys. Oh, yeah, they have these black ones, which I think are disgusting. Oh, yeah, these look way better. Than just these little basic Clippers. Yeah, no, I like the navy blue. I like the navy blue. Look. Looks much better. New logo is meh. Yeah, the logo I don't get. The logo looks horrible. The logo looks absolutely terrible. It's this weird sort of, yeah, it does. I saw people say it looks like a cruise liner. It really does. It's this disgusting, you have the circular logo, which I already hate. Then you have this disgusting sort of combination. Like, they're trying to be minimalistic, right? But then they're also like, let's squeeze as much shit in there as we can. So it's not really minimalistic. I think this is horrible. The new Clippers C. Okay. The whole of the ship set off with the seams of a basketball. Okay, yeah. Custom typeface inspired by naval typography. Okay. The silhouette of an oncoming ship, a nod to the team's origins in the San Diego harbor. Okay. This is horrible. I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know what I'm looking at. Just a horrible logo. Can we get some like real fucking logos back? There used to be a time where the logos were sick. Believe it or not. Where they didn't care about this minimalistic dog shit. We're making cool stuff. We don't care about minimalism. We're making cool, gaudy logos. Look at these. These are sick. All of these are sick. You have a Buck sitting on the Milwaukee Bucks. You have a Cavalier. You've got a fucking Cavalier. Look at this Rockets logo. What's going on there? I don't know, but it's cool. Look at the Pistons logos, man. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Fuck you. I'm not disabling my ad blocker for you. The Pistons logo, and there's, you know, you can make jokes about this, but it used to be a Tin Man. Then you had the super cool Pistons logo with the horse, and now you have this. Now you have this. Yeah, they had a Tin Man as their logo. Yo, listen, that shit's cool, okay? I don't care. I mean, look how cool the Mavericks logo used to be with the cowboy hat. I mean, that shit's sick. Pacers with the dunking, with the hand dunking the ball. Don't they have something similar to that right now? Suns, you actually had a sun. The classic Raptors logo. Now it's like, how can we make these look as corporate as possible? And also shitty. And also boring. And also lame. How can we accomplish all of those things? Okay, boom. All right. Yeah, you want shitty, lame, boring, and circular? Don't worry, Clippers, we got you. Shitty, check. Lame, check. Boring, check. Circular, check. Corporate, check. We did it, guys. Yeah. We did it. Good work, everyone. Boring. Boring. See, this is cool. This is cool. You got the ship. It's not a circular design. You got the basketball. That shit's cool looking. This is even kind of cool looking. This is horrible, man. This actually looks AI generated. Actually, this might be. Do we have any confirmation? This genuinely could be AI generated. It honestly wouldn't surprise me. Steve Ballmer's like, yeah, we're creating a new path for NBA teams to use AI. I actually think that might be exactly what happened. To be 100% honest with you. I'm not a fan. It doesn't look like a sports team, you know? It doesn't look like a sports team. Like, let's not forget, these are fun, entertaining sports teams, you know? It's not supposed to be some corporate feeling thing. It's supposed to be fun. If it's a little bit goofy, so fucking what? All right, so the jerseys are cool. I think they're good. You know, a little basic, but all jerseys are basic now, and they just look clean. When was the last time there was a rebrand and everyone was like, holy shit, that they hit it out of the park? Because I remember the Hawks one, where like, guys, we got a rebrand, and they came out with those stupid ass triangle jerseys. Jazz, no, the Jazz rebuild was not met with a lot of excitement, even though I think their jerseys are a little overhated. I'm looking at some of these classic logos, and I'm just like, why did some of you move off of these logos, man? Some of these are so sick. Yes, the Mavericks desperately need to rebrand, but I'm not confident at all it would be good. Like right now, they're just boring. They're not terrible. They're just boring. Speaking of the Mavericks, let's get into some game action from yesterday. Busy slate of games across the NBA. Of course, we're on the home stretch, so all these games matters. The Mavericks 7-game win streak gets snapped. They lose by 22 points to the Pacers. I will say that the score is not very accurate. Not a very accurate representation of the game. This game was close. This game was within 6 or 4 even. Wait, what did they get it to? When Kyrie was going off in the fourth quarter? How close did the game get? 4, yeah, with 8 minutes and 56 seconds left. So before the Pacers went on a crazy run to close it out. So the game was closer. And I just gotta be honest with you. I don't know if it's because I rewatched the game and I already knew what happened. I felt for the early portions of the game, the Mavericks just looked like the better team. And I don't know if I'm saying that because it's the Mavericks or what, but it just felt to me watching the game early on that it looked like, oh, the better team is struggling here. One of those games. But yes. Let's talk about this game because everybody's freaking the fuck out. The fan base has PTSD, like we just do, right? After every single loss, last year was so bad. After every single loss, we just revert back to, oh my god, here it comes, like here we go. I would have loved for the Mavericks to get this win for one main reason. They didn't win back-to-back games once after the All-Star break last year. So let's just get that out of the way immediately. Like, boom, let's get 2 wins out of the way immediately. Obviously, the win streak up to 8 games. If the Mavericks took care of business yesterday, they would have been the 5 seed, I believe. So I do get it. Like, we're scared. We're scared. We're just scared that it's going to end up like it did last year, where the team just collapses and we're left at the end after the season going, what the fuck just happened? How did we just go an entire stretch of games after the All-Star break without winning back-to-back games a single time? Oh, I'm sorry. I lied. The Mavericks did win back-to-back games once. That's overtime win against the Spurs where they should not have won that game, and Maxi Kleber's game winning 3. So I apologize. They did win back-to-back games once. But it was fake. And it wasn't until the season was for sure over that they did that. So yes, there's some fear and resentment. However, I do got to say, man, let's reel it in collectively, okay? Let's reel it in. Seriously. This team has shown us over the last couple of weeks that they are very good, all right? They're a very good team. They're much better suited to be a good team now than they were a couple of weeks ago. And we just have to move on. Yes, most certainly relax. Okay, I get it. It sucks. Would love to have won this game. But I saw people who were like, this is a very concerning loss. I mean, is it? Just don't make it a habit. Come out tomorrow night against the Cavs, another good team, but come out against the Cavs tomorrow night on the road and try to win. And if you win, then we'll forget about this shit. This is a good Pacers team too, by the way. It's not like they went on the road and lost to the Wizards. They lost to a good Pacers team who's been playing really well lately. And a team that's very, very difficult to play at home. It's not like they went out and lost to a shit team. They played a good team on the road and lost. Hey, so what? Guess what? I went back and I watched this game. The Mavericks offense was horrible in this game. Horrible. Took Kyrie a while to get going. And he turned it on in the fourth quarter. But I will say the Mavericks were already found themselves dug in a deep hole because part of the reason was he was so bad early on. And when I say bad, I don't mean like it looked like shit. He was just missing shots he usually hits. That's just how it was. It wasn't like he was out of it and making stupid plays. He was just missing shots he usually hits, which, is going to happen. Whatever. It'll happen. Shit like that happened. And he did turn it on. And then the Mavericks, I thought, by the time he turned it on, got it within 4, the ball needed to be, and Kid said this after the game, the ball needed to be in his hands every single time down the floor. That's just, when Kyrie's going like that, it's like, all right, Kyrie, the ball's in your hands. And I think a reason why that needs to be the case, especially a team like the Pacers, is Kyrie, he has some very fast, some very, he plays with some pace from time to time. But a lot of the times he's going to get the ball and he's very similar to Luka. He's going to read the defense. He's going to be methodical. He's going to take his time. He's going to be surgical. He's going to get the look that he wants. And that sort of slows the game down a little bit for you. The Mavericks got into this, Istok pointed this out today on Twitter, but these super fast-paced teams, it feels like the Mavericks just play into their hands too often when it's better for them if they just let the game slow down, play in the half court. This is a terrible Pacers defense. Okay, but they did a good job last night, even though the Mavericks just missed shots that they would usually hit. It's a terrible Pacers defense. And, sometimes it's better just to slow the game down, get a look you want offensively, that way you can get back and get your defense set, instead of playing this running gun game where, okay, we're going to shoot a 3-4 seconds into the shot clock now. It's just like, okay, let's reel it in a little bit, guys. All right, you don't have to do that. I know that you want to play with some more pace, but let's selectively play with pace. Let's hit ahead when there's a hit-ahead pass. When there's a number advantage, let's be aggressive. When we bring the ball up the court and there's a mismatch, let's get right into it. So fuck Elon Discord servers top 25 NBA players. What is this? Is there a reason you're sending this in here? So anyways, what other stuff came from this game? So the Tim Hardaway Jr. stuff. He was horrible in this game. He's had like a 10-game stretch now being absolutely terrible. And what's funny is, from the bits and pieces I heard, Tim Hardaway was struggling. And then on Twitter, everyone's saying Tim Hardaway was dog ass and he's the worst player of all time. So I went into the game expecting to see just an absolutely abysmal Tim Hardaway Jr. performance. And while it wasn't good, I don't think it was as bad as people were saying. To be 100% honest with you. He's in his own head. Like, he's so clearly in his own head right now that it's really, really, really affecting his play. I mean, Tim Hardaway Jr. is supposed to be this endless confidence, go out there and shoot the ball, right? Go out there and shoot the ball. You're going to hit shots and attempt shots that really no one else on this roster can do. And, you know, when it's not there, it's bad. But when it's there, it's nice. He's in his own head right now. You can just tell. He's hesitant to shoot the threes that he usually hits. And he's trying to, you can just tell, he knows he's in a shooting slump. So he's trying to make an extra pass. Maybe he's trying to make the right play. And that leads to a turnover. And that's like, okay, not really what we want there. He had a couple of moments like that. Like one moment where he had a wide open three. And instead of shooting it, he tried to make an extra pass to Kyrie Irving. And it got tipped and it was a turnover. Don't get me wrong. He was fucking terrible last night. I don't think he was the worst player on offense, though. Like, that was easily PJ Washington. It felt like anytime the ball touched PJ Washington's hands, terrible things happened. I thought PJ was horrible last night. I know PJ still has grace, and his defense has been nice. But, you know, hey, at some point, the honeymoon period's going to end, right? At least offensively. And he's going to have to start doing things. He's going to have to start hitting threes. Like, at some point, it's going to have to happen. The Mavericks want to win in the playoffs. At some point, they need PJ Washington to get going. Yeah, he was horrible offensively. Absolutely horrible. He's shooting 19% from three, 37% from the field with the Mavs. 10 turnovers in 5 games. Like, at a certain point, you know, you got to pick it up. You got to pick it up offensively. It just, looked very sloppy. Some really ugly turnovers, just dribbling the ball off of his foot. One of them, he dribbled it off Siakam's foot, but, you know, they're not going to call it kickball. Like, the rule is it's a kickball if you, you have to, like, purposely try to kick it, or there has to be some type of intent there. What if we got Wash PJ instead of All NBA version PJ? I don't know what All NBA version PJ you're talking about. That player doesn't exist. I did try to warn you guys before the trade that PJ Washington's a very inconsistent offensive player. Like, if you're thinking trading for PJ Washington is going to solve your need for more consistent players offensively, you're wrong. Because he's not doing that. He's going to be very inconsistent offensively. But hopefully he just needs to get going more. And they need to find better ways. This is on Kidd. They need to find better ways to get him involved. They're trying. You could tell. They're trying. Going back to that Suns game, there's a couple possessions right at the start of the second half where they were like posting up PJ Washington. I don't know if that's the best way to get him going. There were possessions in this game where he's bringing the ball up on offense, and then he turned it over. I don't know if that's the best way to get him going. Same thing with Tim. Like, okay, we need to get Tim going. All right, well, why don't we run these actions that we love where we empty out a side of the floor for Luka? Why don't we put Tim in the weak corner and see if we can get a skip pass to Tim for wide open corner 3? Like, why don't we run sequences like that instead of like, okay, Tim, go out there and hope for the best, buddy. But yes, when Tim's not hitting shots, he's more often than not the worst player on the court. You know, he 3 of 6 from 3. 1 of 6 on 2s. What's going on there? What's going on there? His defense is horrible. And again, he's like trying to make plays. He's trying to draw charges, which means sucking in off of this guy in the corner and at least to a wide open kick out, wide open three. Like, it's just, he's so clearly in his own head right now. And that's not a good place to be at. And I do wonder if it's like the Mavericks know that the Mavericks want to get Tim Hardaway Jr. going, so they're playing him through his cold stretch here in an effort to get him hot again. And maybe he's on his last legs. Because I don't know how much longer you can afford to have Tim out there playing the way he's been playing lately. I don't know how much longer you have. Just in his last 10 games, 34% from the field, 31% from deep. And he's been a negative on the court anytime he's out there. I don't know how much longer you have. Because it's kind of crazy, right? Like, the Mavericks went on this winning streak without any absurd shooting performances from Tim. I mean, he went 5 of 10 against the Knicks from deep. And really, have the Mavericks had like any crazy role-playing shooting performances over their hot stretch where like they just couldn't miss from three, so there's nothing you can do to beat them? So in a way, you could say, all right, maybe it's a good thing the Mavericks are figuring out ways to win games when their three ball's not falling at a crazy clip. Because it feels like we haven't even seen that yet with this new look team. Josh Green's been good recently. But I'm saying, like, we haven't had, like, the way the Mavericks used to win is before they made trades and got more versatile was, all right, we just got red hot from three and couldn't miss. And it doesn't feel like they've had performances like that. And Luka and Kyrie have been hot. No, them winning games without being red hot from three is a positive. It's not concerning because they'll get hot again. I don't know. I just look at this game, and their offense looks so wonky and out of it early on. Missing shots that they would usually make. I mean, missing layups. Just missing point-blank bunnies. And they got torched defensively by a good Indiana offense, like they did. They got absolutely torched. I think their offense was the bigger problem here than their defense, to be honest with you. I think their offense was a bigger problem than their defense. And yeah, Miles Turner, who the Mavericks clearly, I mean, he went 2 of 7 from deep, but they like, their game plan was, let's let him shoot threes. We're okay. We have to pick our poison. We're cool with Miles Turner shooting threes. And he hasn't been very good from three this year. But he had way too many good looks, good mid-range looks. So the Pacers went, I think it was like 8 of 10 on long twos in this game, which is crazy. Yeah, these type of matchups are really bad for the Mavericks. These quick teams that move the ball around a bunch. They're tough for the Mavericks. But again, they were right there. I guess that was my main takeaways. They played like utter fucking trash. Don't make a habit of playing this badly. Right? They were horrible for most of this game, yet they found themselves within 4 points with 8 minutes left. And then, of course, out of that timeout, the Pacers go on just a huge run after the Mavericks cut to 4. Tim Hardaway Jr. took a abysmal 40-foot three. I mean, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking there. They weren't going to win every single game. And I get it sucks because, again, you have the PTSD from last season, and you also have just this incredibly tight standings playoff picture currently in the West where it's like, wow, wait, we're the 8th seed? What the fuck? How is that even possible? We had such a hot stretch. How have we like dropped a spot in the standings? But you know, the beautiful part about basketball is you got a game tomorrow night in Cleveland, a tough place to play. against a really good team. And you got a chance to sort of right the ship a little bit. A chance to sort of right the ship, put this game behind you, and move on. And that's what they need to do. I mean, it's really that simple. I don't know. There's no point in Mavs chance against Cleveland. They're good. I mean, what the fuck? They're good. Just like reel it in. Don't make a habit of losing like this. Don't make a habit of playing like this. You need PJ Washington to get going. You need Tim to get going again. That's just really it. That's just it. So that's, I mean, yeah, Hardy could have played more. Exum, I mean, I'm just not relying on Exum at all. In my brain, I'm not even thinking about Exum playing another game. And if he does come back and he plays and he's good, then great. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the Hardy minutes. I don't know if it's, maybe I'm giving Kid too much of a pass and I'm thinking maybe they're like, all right, we have to get Tim going. Like, we can't just give up. We have to get Tim going from 3. But the problem is, if Tim doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. You know? Very rarely over the course of a game does Tim go from not having it to having it. Like, if he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. And if his shot's not falling, he's pretty much doing nothing else for you. He's not good at creating shots for himself. He's not good at creating shots for others. He's horrible defensively. Why do people act like what Hardaway does is even special? His efficiency is garbage. I bet 90% of the players in the league could do what he does. Walk out there, chuck up a bunch of threes. And once out of every 5 games, he hits 3 of them. I mean, it isn't that easy, or else there would be more players who do it. I mean, that's just the truth. If it were that easy, there would be more players who do it. But yes, when he's not like knocking down shots at a super high clip, then it's hard for him to be out there. And I would have liked to see more Hardy minutes. I also wonder if I think they think Tim's a good defender. I actually do. I actually think that they think Tim's a good defender. In a weird way. But look, here's my thing. With this past game, my big takeaway, honest to God, was they need PJ Washington to get going. Like, that was my biggest takeaway. And we give PJ a pass, and you know he's new, and we're not gonna get on him too much. His defense has been incredible, but they need his offense to get going. That was my biggest takeaway. Everyone's mad at Tim Hardaway Jr. and shitting on Tim Hardaway Jr. No, PJ Washington has to be better than that. He has to be better. You literally been hating on Clay this season, and THJ has been worse. Do you guys think I'm like some THJ lover and defender? I literally said Tim Hardaway Jr. is trash in this game. And when he's not making shots, he can't be on the floor. So, the worst game, PJ or Tim Hardaway Jr.? I mean, do you want me to be honest with you? Like, I thought PJ was horrible offensively. Like, that was one of the worst offensive performances I've seen from a player in a long time. I'm just being honest, and he'll be better. I'm hoping he'll be better. So with you, I don't think he was that bad. I'm saying I don't think he was that bad compared to what people are saying on Twitter. It was bad. Don't get me wrong. He was bad. But again, I left the game like, oh, PJ Washington playing at this level offensively is a bigger problem than Tim playing at this level offensively. Like that was my takeaway from the game. Yeah, the centers were getting torched. The Mavs overhelped too much. I don't know. I mean, that's got to be a scheme problem. There were a couple plays where like Lively came off to help and try and get a block, but he didn't need to at all. And his guy was either there for a rebound or for a pass. I think the Mavs could live with switching more, and they've done it when they've been good defensively at times over this winning stretch, where they've switched a lot defensively. I felt like last night they kind of went away from it a little bit. But again, it is what it is, man. Just figure out what you could build on moving forward from this game. And that's that. What would be the best way to get PJ involved without it feeling forced? I mean, he's just got to hit his open threes. Like, he's getting open threes. He has to hit them. He has to shoot them and hit them. But PJ's deficiencies can be overlooked. No, they can't. 2 points on 1 of 6 with 4 turnovers cannot be overlooked. I'm sorry. They straight up can't be. They cannot be. They cannot be overlooked. That's really bad. We can't overlook it. I know we are overlooking it because he's a new guy and whatever. And he plays good defense. So anyways, I think the Mavs will be fine personally. The Pacers got red hot in the fourth quarter and couldn't miss. They were hitting tough shots. Like I said, 8 of 10 on long twos. Some of those, pick and pop looks with Miles Turner, but some of them were tough shots with hands directly in their face that you just tip your cap. Some of those threes in the fourth quarter were tough shots on good closeouts or with a hand in the face, and you just tip your cap. So you just move on. I think they'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. Jokic third MVP coming. Jokic's last 3 games are nuts. Jokic's last 3 games have been crazy. I think the thing against his MVP candidacy this year is that you watch the Nuggets and it's very clear what they're doing. They're coasting. All right, they know exactly what they need to do to win a championship. They're coasting. And when it's time to turn it on, they hit this other gear where you're like, "Oh, okay. Yeah. They're still the team to fucking beat." Oh, okay. Yeah, if they get home court advantage again throughout the playoffs, the experts have spoken. What's Nakai say? Okay, I'm honestly done. I'm done with that. But if the Nuggets get the 1 seed, I have a very difficult time imagining anybody else coming out the West. But there's some teams with legit cases, and you know what? The Mavericks are one of them. If they make it there with Luka and Kyrie, but they hit this gear from time to time. You're like, oh yeah, okay, that's right. Like they did against the Warriors last night. Hit that gear. You're like, okay, that's who this team is. And the same thing goes with Jokic. I think that's what is maybe the case against Jokic for MVP this year is that he does have some games where it's just like, eh. Yeah, the Warriors were up by 16. They end up losing the game by 16. It's less about gear and more about Jamal Murray. Can he be consistent again? Yeah, but that's part of the gear though. Jamal Murray, his nickname, his superhero name is Big Game Man or whatever it is. Give me liberty, give me fire, give me games against the best teams, or I retire. Like that's what I'm talking about. The gear. Jamal Murray clearly hits another gear in games where he's like, I need to get going. And their defense hits another gear where it's like, yeah. Yeah, I don't remember what the exact nickname was. Big Game Man. I think that's what it was. Which, if you say fast, might come out the wrong way. But Jokic's last 3 games. 23 points, 19 rebounds, 15 assists against the Wizards on 10 of 10 shooting. What was it? The first time in NBA history, a 2015-15 game on perfect shooting. Next game against the Trailblazers, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 14 assists. And then last night, 20 points, 16 rebounds, 16 assists. That shit's crazy. 3 games in a row like that? That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. I mean, he's insane, man. When he gets going. And what's crazy, the crazy thing is, he's such a good scorer, too. But he just doesn't, he just doesn't really get into that bag that often. He only does it when they need it. And it's funny because if he's scoring a lot of points, it's like, oh shit, it's a bad thing almost that the Nuggets needed him to score a lot of points. So yet another just insane performance from Jokic. I mean, that's a crazy 3-game stretch. Has that ever happened before? Has there been 3 games of 20, 15, and 15 in a row? If you were to tell me no, I'd believe you. But if you were to tell me Wilt Chamberlain did it 50 straight times, I'd also believe you. But it's just absolutely crazy. He's the first since Wilt. Is that true? Klay Thompson, how many points did Klay have in the first quarter? 23 points in the first. No, he didn't have 23 points in the first quarter. He didn't do anything in the second half at all. And it's funny because I was watching him and he checked into the game and it was almost like he was kind of passive aggressive on the court. Like during free throws, he'd sit behind the 3-point line, was like practicing his 3-point shot. He'd jump around. Like he was basically like, give me the fucking ball. Like he was passive aggressively on the court saying, give me the fucking ball right now. Shit was hilarious. It does kind of feel like every time it's like, here come the Warriors. You know, they drop a couple of games. It just kind of feels like where we're at. There's going to be a battle for that 5 and 6 seed. There will be a battle for the top seed. But it feels like it's like the Lakers and the Warriors will be 9 and 10. 5 through 8 will be an absolute bloodbath. And then 1 through 4 will kind of be a bloodbath / teams at the end of the season going, okay, what matchup would we rather see? Do we want, the Pelicans are the 6th seed. All right, let's try to get 3. The Kings are the 6th seed. Let's try to get 3. The Mavericks are the 6th seed. All right, let's try to move up or move down. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to disrespect the Kings or anything, but that's just what would happen. That's just what would happen. Yeah, Klay in the first quarter had 16 points. And then 7 the rest of the game. Yeah, depending on who the top seed is in the West, like among those top 4 teams, it's just the reality. The Timberwolves and the Thunder are the more enticing matchups for teams. Although I will say this, let's just talk about the Clippers now. They've really been struggling lately. And they don't look anywhere near as dominant as they did during their hot stretch. Now, maybe it's just they took their foot off the gas a little bit. They're kind of thinking, all right, we know who we can be. We've seen it. We don't really care too much if we're the 1 seed or whatever. Let's reel it in. Let's get there healthy. Or it could just be that, they maybe peaked a little bit too early and they are an older team and they're starting to lose some legs a little bit. And the stuff offensively that was working to a T, like the Harden and Zubats pick and roll earlier in the season, it's kind of lost some steam. Teams are doing a better job defending and making sure that shooters don't get wide open looks. They also were without Paul George in this game. Right? You also were without Paul George in this game. And Paul George has really been struggling lately, though. So who knows? Maybe if the Clippers keep playing like how they've looked over the last couple weeks, maybe they aren't some big bad team that you're looking to avoid in the first round. Although I will say this as a Mavs fan, when it comes to Kawhi Leonard, that's not a guy you'd want to play. Okay, that's not a guy you're super excited about playing in the playoff. Anyone that is a fan of Shea doesn't know baseball. It's probably true. There's probably not a lot of overlap there. Shea fans and baseball fans, there's probably not too much overlap. But this was a nice win by the Kings. Sabonis had yet another triple-double. I mean, this guy's counting stats are just absurd. He was a monster on the glass. Unquestionably a great rebounder. I do have a problem with his assist stats. Like, I'm sorry, I just do. They were talking about it on the broadcast. They're like, yeah, most of his assists probably wouldn't count in college. I saw Kings fans get upset by that, and I was like, well, some of the assists are a dribble handoff and a screen and a couple dribbles by a guy. But okay. But this was a nice game. De'Aaron Fox took over. And when he takes some of his mid-range shots are just like fucking insane. Like, it's just pure muscle memory. Because he'll turn around. There's no way he can even see the rim. Like, there'll be somebody directly in his face. Perfect contest. And he just chunks up this, like, super high-arcing, short little mid-range shot. When he's on, it feels automatic. And again, it's like, that's just muscle memory. There's no way he even sees the rim. It's crazy. And Keegan Murray had a really nice game in this one, too. 11 points, but I thought defensively he was really, really good. He had the best plus-minus, or tied for the best plus-minus. So. It's Jokic, too, dribble handoffs. Well, Jokic is unquestionably a better passer than Sabonis, though. So a nice win for the Kings, of course, right? Mavericks desperately needed them to lose. Kings pull out a win on the road against the Clippers. Although I will say, any of you guys watching that game, what was like, oh my God, how many Kings fans were there? Shit sounded like a Kings home game at times. It was crazy. Then I saw a picture after the game that there was like a section of Kings fans right by the broadcasting crew, so maybe that's just what it was. Yeah, I saw Shannon Sharp and Kendrick Perkins. I don't care at all. Okay, I really don't. So yeah, the top four teams in the West. I mean, yeah, just the reality is you want to avoid the Nuggets at all costs. So that'll be interesting at the end of the season. I am interested. If the Nuggets stay at 3, and let's say going into the last game, you have a team that's in the 7 spot, and if they win, they move up to 6. I am interested. If it's like, we'd rather take our shot in the play-in. We'd rather take our shot in the play-in tournament. We know that it's risky, but we just feel like we have a better chance of going far. Like our ceiling is higher than playing the Nuggets around 1 on the road. That will be interesting to see if that's how it plays out. That will be interesting to see. But if the Nuggets move up to a top 2 seed, which is still possible, then everything becomes different, right? Then you want to be out of the play-in tournament. But if it's the Timberwolves and the Thunder as the 1-2, look, it's just a reality. They're young teams. We haven't seen the Thunder in the playoff series. The Timberwolves have at least been in the playoffs and, played a somewhat competitive series against the Nuggets. We have not seen the Thunder in the playoffs. I personally think they'll be good. Their play style, I think, bodes well for the postseason. Now, if they get, at least offensively, if they get a matchup against a bigger team early on, then they might really, really struggle. Just because they are smaller. They don't rebound well. But I do think that offensively they're built, especially if they, what I think they will do, I think they might give Giddey one game. But I think they'll be very quick to pull the Giddey plug in the postseason. And that's really their main weakness offensively right now. Pacers really exposed our weaknesses with the lethal 5 out with Turner. I mean, they were just hitting crazy shots. They were just hitting some tough shots. Mavs defense did not play well, but you just really have to tip your cap, man. You really do. Just move on. ISO midi struggle in the playoffs. I mean, those are shots you have to hit in the playoffs. $40-17 for the Timberwolves and Thunder. That's crazy. That's nuts. Good for both of them. DeMar is like an incredibly weird case study where it's like DeMar, you feel like plays a perfect playoff game. He's great isolation player, a great post-up player, lives in the mid-range. Those are all things that should indicate that he's going to be a very good playoff player. Because those are the game slows down, a lot of isolation possessions, post-up possessions. You need a tough bucket, a lot of mid-range possessions. He's just like a weird case study on it. A weird case study. It's just so interesting how this is going to play out. Like the final week of the season is going to be hilarious because the jockeying for seeds, and you're going to see teams get flat out disrespected. Like you're going to see teams who are like very clearly teams like we want to play them. We want them round 1. We will lose every game over the next week if it means we get them in round 1. And I am interested. If it's the Timberwolves and the Thunders 1-2, are we going to see teams say, we're cool with the play-in? That's what we want. We don't want the 6th seed. We want the play-in tournament. We like our chances in a 1-game play-in scenario, and then we can play the Thunder in round 1. And we like that. Should be crazy, man. Should be crazy. I'm very interested to see how it all plays out. Yeah, it is a dilemma for the Mavs, obviously, because it's like Luka's MVP case dies if they're in the play-in, but you could make the argument if they make it out of the play-in, they do have a better chance of going far in the playoffs. If it's the Timberwolves or Thunder in round 1 and the Clippers in round 2 versus Nuggets round 1. Suns beat the Lakers yesterday. I don't think the Lakers are very good. I'm sorry. I know that they've been hot lately, but they don't do anything for me personally. I don't watch them and think that they're a good team. I don't watch them and think they're a good team. How about this for Nurkic? 18, 22, and 7. When he's good, they're good. And now Bol is like playing now. Cavs beat the Wizards after a first half scare. Hawks beat the Magic. I don't know anything that happened in this game, to be honest with you. I was driving, but I watched a good amount of some of these games. Thunder and Rockets. There's been some discontent, I guess I should say, about Şengün lately. I've seen it. Some some Rockets fans who are growing a little concerned. Now, wait, do we have like a guy? We spent the whole summer and offseason shitting on anyone who was like, yeah, Şengün's cool, but he's not like a guy. But like maybe he's not a guy. Maybe he's not like the number one player. I still think they're in a good place, the Rockets. But yeah, I think you do maybe have to wonder, do they not have the guy? Like who's going to be the number one guy on this team when they're trying to win games? Do they have that right now, or do they have a bunch of like really, really strong role players? Amin could be that guy. Maybe he's going to have to develop a shot, and that's no guarantee at all. Cam Whitmore's going to have to learn how to pass. That's probably not going to happen. Şengün, I mean, we've seen it with these bigs. If you're a little bit smaller and not very good defensively, it's really hard to build good teams around you. Like it just is. It's really, really hard to build around that. You could build good offenses with a center as an offensive hub, but I still think they're in a good place. And the Thunder have been red hot since they lost to the Mavericks. Have they lost since then? Maybe that was a wake-up call for them. Yeah. Worst loss of the season against the Mavericks. They've won 5 straight games since then, and I mean blowouts in every single one of them. So you're welcome. You're welcome, Thunder. This is what I'm talking about. A blowout win for the Thunder. Josh Giddey's in the starting lineup. Every other starter plus 17, plus 17, plus 10, plus 8, 0. Guy's just fucking horrible. Just terrible. Spurs Jazz. I always, anytime I'm thinking about maybe tuning into a Spurs game, I click on it. I look at the box score. I'm like, all right, is Wemby going crazy? That's the only reason I'm going to tune in. Is Wemby going nuts? He did have 5 blocks in this game, but Devin Vassell's been playing well lately. Yeah, he always has 5 blocks. I mean, it's crazy. There was like, I saw people on Twitter this past week who were like, Wemby is not a defensive player of the year candidate. Like, don't box score watch the games. I'm like, do you watch the games? Like, do you watch the games? He's very good defensively. Does he get cooked from time to time? I mean, sure, everyone does. We were talking about Kings Clippers. Hornets Blazers 93-80. Good game. 93-80. So anyways, a couple games tonight, not too many. I don't know what's the deal with the schedule. Why do we have, like, out of the All-Star break, it feels like the scheduling's been horrible. Why are there so many nights with 13 games and then a night with 4 games the next night? Why are these games not spaced out more? I don't understand. Raptors and Pacers. Pistons, Knicks, Nets, Grizzlies, and Heat Kings. Heat Kings is a good one. Although, I gotta say, I have to say, the absolute insane. Is Jimmy Butler not suspended for this game? Isn't Jimmy suspended tonight? He is. I can't help but feel like the Kings just they it feels like they're really lucky. I'm just being honest. It feels like they're no Paul George against the Clippers. That I think a lot of Clippers fans are saying that was just kind of a rest thing. No Jimmy Butler tonight for a suspension. Like, man. Yeah, you play who you play. So, honestly, kind of a lame night across the NBA. Big back-to-back for the Mavericks on Tuesday and Wednesday. Win both these games and we're cruising. Win both of these, and we're cruising. To be fair, the Mavs got really lucky during their win streak. No, you're right. I mean, you're right. You just play who's in front of you. That's really it. That's all.